Mark this date down, guys, because this might go down as the day that the Democratic Party finally lit the fuse on its own destruction. That's right. Chuck Schumer, he thought he was playing 4D chess by forcing this government shutdown, but instead, he may have just handed Donald J. Trump the single greatest opportunity that any president has ever had to slash the bloated federal bureaucracy, gut the deep state, and put MAGA in the driver's seat for an entire generation. Now, here's a real kicker, guys. Speaker Mike Johnson, he's blowing the whistle. He's exposing the truth that the media will never tell you, and Chuck Schumer's shutdown has already triggered the largest federal worker exodus in U.S. history. Over 154,000 resignations in a single week. And Russ Vought, Trump's secret weapon at the OMB, he's preparing mass layoffs that will make this the most devastating restructuring Washington has ever seen. Now, the Democrats, they wanted to stop Trump. Well, congratulations. They just armed him with the keys to burn this entire corrupt empire down to the ground. Because what I'm about to share with you, this proves this isn't just a political miscalculation. This is a historic backfire. This is one that leaves Chuck Schumer cornered, Democrats divided, and Trump positioned to make America from the ground up. Hit the like button, subscribe, folks. We got a lot to talk about today. So Democrats just committed what could go down as the single dumbest strategic blunder in modern political history. I mean, instead of passing a clean continuing resolution, the same resolution that was already backed by them in March, by the way, Chuck Schumer and his Senate Democrats slammed the brakes and said no this time. Why? Because the radicals in his party demanded it. That's right, guys. The Democrat radicals blocked Chuck Schumer, or actually kind of threatened him not to support this thing. Check this out. So the government, they were ready to stay open for at least another 7 weeks. No games, no gimmicks, but Schumer caves. That's right. Flips on his own record and plunges America into a shutdown that he knows that the public hates. In fact, this isn't about policy. This is about politics. It's about Schumer trying to buy himself a little bit of cover from the far left mob that's breathing down his neck. And here's the real irony. In trying to hurt Trump, he just handed Trump a historic gift. What Chuck Schumer thought was a power move has turned into the opening move of his own destruction. The Democrats wanted to fight. What they got instead was a political suicide note signed in their own ink. Now, here's where it gets brutal. So Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, he's not letting this thing slide. Oh no. So he is exposing Schumer in real time, pulling back the curtain and showing the country exactly what's going on. Mike Johnson, he said it pretty plainly here. He said Schumer is operating out of pure political desperation. He's willing to abandon the American people, force a shutdown, and contradict everything that he's ever said in his career, all just to block Trump. Does that sound a little selfish to you guys? Drop a selfish down below if you think so. Now, remember, this is the same Chuck Schumer who called a clean CR the right thing to do just months ago. And so now, suddenly, it's the wrong thing just because Trump supports it? That's not leadership, folks. That is cowardice. That is someone who would rather burn the entire house down than admit Trump is right. And Johnson's bombshell goes even deeper. He says Schumer isn't just risking the country, he's risking his own future. So by caving to radicals, Schumer is exposing the Democrats as weak, divided, and out of touch. Now, this isn't a gamble. It is political Russian roulette, and the chamber is loaded. Now, here's where it gets absolutely devastating for Democrats, folks. The American people aren't buying this stunt for 1 second. The latest polling shows it crystal clear. 65% of Americans flat out oppose Schumer's shutdown strategy. Now, here's the real kicker. Nearly half of Democrats themselves are against it. Now, let me repeat that. Even Democrats themselves don't support their own leadership on this one. Now, that's not just a crack in armor. This is full-blown collapse of credibility. Now, I've talked about this before, the 80-20 doom loop, okay? Over and over, the Democrat Party plants its flag on the wrong side of every major issue. It's like they're not even paying attention to what's happening. Open borders, they're for it. Defending illegals over citizens, check. Protecting violent criminals, pushing DEI madness, forcing trans athletes into women's sports. Every single time they pick the 20% position against the 80% majority. Does that make any sense to anybody else? Because it doesn't make any sense to me. And now they've added the shut down the government to that loser list. Now, this isn't just about bad politics. It's political malpractice at this point. Democrats are showing America that when essentially forced to choose between common sense and radical insanity, well, let's just say that they're going to choose insanity every time, even if it means taking themselves down along with it. Now, here's a dirty little secret that nobody in the mainstream media wants to say out loud. This shutdown wasn't Chuck Schumer's idea of brilliance. It was actually AOC's loaded gun pointed straight at his career. Now, Schumer's numbers in New York, let's just say, well, they're rather weak. Polls already show Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez beating him in a primary if she runs. Now, this is exactly why Chuck Schumer is panicking, because he's worried that AOC is going to take his job. He's not thinking about the country. He's thinking about survival. And survival for him means bowing down to the radicals like AOC and her socialist squad. So what does he do? Well, he torches his own credibility, flips his vote, and plunges the nation into chaos just to keep AOC at bay. But here's the problem. In trying to save herself, he's dragging his entire party into the fire. The Democrats, they look completely leaderless, divided and beholden to the very most extreme voices out there from the left. And folks, you really can't lead a country if you can't even control your own party. So Schumer's desperation doesn't just reveal weakness. It guarantees that weakness will be exploited by Trump, by Speaker Mike Johnson, and by every American who's tired of being held hostage by radical fringe. So imagine walking into your doctor's office and hearing, sorry, we don't accept your Medicare plan anymore. Well, unfortunately, the truth is that happens every single day because Medicare networks change without notice. This is why I partner with Chapter. They make sure that your doctors and specialists stay covered under the right Medicare plan. And they do this before you get blindsided. Now, Sharon Bertusik, she knows that pain. Unfortunately, she lost her coverage and she felt completely helpless. And it was a pretty sad situation for her, right up until Chapter stepped in and found her a new Medicare plan that kept her doctors. So let me ask, would you rather risk the surprise, or would you do what most people are already doing and just go ahead and prevent it now? Now, most people, they're dialing the phone number right there at the bottom of your screen, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. Now, here's where the Democrats' gamble turns into a catastrophic backfire. Because when Schumer shut the government down, he didn't just stop the funding. He actually shifted the power without even realizing it. And guess who that power shifted to? Donald J. Trump and the Office of Management and Budget. Now, that's right, guys. With Congress tied up and agencies stalled, the day-to-day control of federal operations falls right into the lap of the executive branch. And who's calling the shots inside the executive branch? Well, it's Trump. That means President Trump now has unprecedented authority to decide what gets funded, what gets frozen, and what gets permanently cut. So without a single Democrat vote, they can make this call. Without a single compromise. This is the dream scenario that conservatives have been waiting for. This is a chance to finally slash the bloated bureaucracy, sideline the deep state, and start trimming the fat that's been piling up since FDR. So let's be clear. Schumer thought he was trapping Trump, but instead, he just handed Trump the keys to the kingdom. Democrats screamed shutdown, but what they really triggered was a MAGA takeover of the federal machine. And once Trump has the wheel, well, folks, there's no going back. So speaking of that wheel, actually, let me go ahead and introduce you to the man that's gripping it with both hands, Russ Vought. Now, he's not just Trump's budget director. He's actually the project architect of Project 2025. This is the blueprint for dismantling the deep state brick by brick. Now, with Chuck Schumer shut down in full swing, Russ Vought and the OMB, they have powers that most Americans didn't even realize existed. They can order permanent layoffs, not just temporary furloughs. That's right, guys. Thousands of federal employees won't just be sitting at home waiting for back pay. They'll be gone, fired for good. Second, Russ Vought, he can create what insiders are calling a kill list of programs and agencies that just don't align with President Trump's America First policies. Now imagine whole departments that have been wasting taxpayer money for decades, gone overnight. And third, let's not forget about the plan to integrate Doge systems into the government, streamlining bureaucracy with new tech and cutting out dead weight. This isn't just budget trimming. Folks, this is government restructuring on a historic scale. Now, Russ Vought isn't just Trump's secret weapon. He's actually the Democrats' worst nightmare. And thanks to Schumer's desperation, that nightmare is now a reality. Now, if you thought this shutdown was only about political theater, think again, guys, because while Schumer's playing games in the Senate, the federal bureaucracy is experiencing something that we've never seen before, a mass exodus. Over 154,000 federal workers have resigned in a single week. That is the largest resignation wave in U.S. history, hands down. So let that sink in. That's not a budget cut. That is not a temporary furlough. That is a government implosion. And it's no coincidence, actually. I mean, think about it. Many of these resignations are tied directly to Trump's furlough program, which encouraged early exits of employees unwilling to adapt to the America First direction of government. In other words, Trump has been preparing for this movement. Now, instead of forcing or being forced into endless battles with entrenched bureaucrats, Trump is watching as they walk out the door voluntarily. He didn't even have to fight them. Agencies are bleeding staff, their entire departments are shrinking themselves, and the swamp is draining itself. So Democrats wanted to stop Trump. Let me ask you, what do you think they actually did? Well, I think they gave him the opportunity to accelerate the biggest workforce reshaping in American history. Folks, this isn't chaos. This is controlled demolition, and Trump's team is holding the detonator in hand. And so while Trump gains power, the Democrats are busy tearing themselves apart. This shutdown didn't unite their party. This shutdown exposed the fault lines that could split them wide open. Now, on the one side, you got the Democrats who know this shutdown is a complete disaster. They see the polling, they hear from the constituents, and they realize it's political suicide. But on the other side, you got the radicals, you got AOC, you got the squad, you got the far left activists demanding that Schumer hold the line even as the ship sinks. So what's the result? Total division. Democrats are blaming each other, second guessing their leadership, and openly panicking as Trump turns their stunt into a victory lap. Voters are noticing too. So when the lights go out and the paychecks stop flowing, they're not blaming Trump. They're blaming the party that chose this shutdown in the first place. This is how parties collapse, folks. Not with one big explosion, but with the cracks that spread until the whole structure caves in. And right now, we're watching the Democrat Party's foundation crumble under the weight of its own arrogance and infighting. So what's happening right now, it's not just a shutdown. It is the collapse of an order that's been in place ever since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I mean, think about that. For nearly 90 years, Democrats have built layer upon layer of federal bureaucracy programs, agencies designed to cement their power and to create permanent dependence, really. From the New Deal to the Great Society, from Obamacare to DEI mandates, the Democrat playbook has always been the same. Grow the government, grow control. But in one stroke of arrogance, Schumer may have triggered the undoing of all of it. When agencies shut their doors, when workers resign in droves, when OMB starts slashing programs, the machinery built since FDR begins to grind to a halt. Now, this isn't theoretical, folks. It's happening in real time. The empire of bureaucracy that Democrats thought was going to last forever being dismantled from the inside. And the beauty of it, well, they did it to themselves. I mean, Schumer didn't just light the match. He threw it into the gas tank of his own party's legacy. And the fire spreading across Washington is burning straight through decades of Democrat power. So now I want to talk about the flip side, because while Democrats implode, a new order is rising. Let's just go ahead and call it what it is. The MAGA ascendancy. Now, for years, Trump has promised to drain the swamp. Critics laughed, the media mocked, and Democrats blocked him every turn. But now the shutdown has cleared the runway. With Russ Vought at the controls, Trump has the authority, the momentum, and the public support to reshape Washington in ways that no president before him ever even dreamed of. So this is bigger than one budget fight. This is the beginning of a generational realignment. I mean, just imagine America where bloated agencies are trimmed down, where radical programs are defunded, where the deep state no longer hides behind layers of bureaucracy. That's not a campaign promise anymore. This is a reality being rewritten in real time. And so this is why today may go down as the first official day of MAGA dominance in DC. Schumer wanted a shutdown. He wanted a showdown. Instead, he triggered a revolution. And once this new MAGA playbook is fully unleashed, there's no putting it back in the box. So here we are, folks. The Democrats thought that they were cornering Trump. They thought that a shutdown was going to weaken him. They thought it was going to embarrass him, maybe even fracture the Republican Party. But instead, Schumer just armed President Trump with the most powerful tool to slash the government, cut the deep state, and rewrite the rules of Washington forever. Now, think about what we've covered. 154,000 federal workers walking out the door. Russ Vought preparing mass layoffs, whole agencies on the chopping block, Democrats divided and turning on each other, Schumer's career hanging by a thread, all while Trump stands stronger than ever. Now, here's the question that I want to leave you guys with today. Is this the end of the Democrat power in Washington? Because it sure looks like it. I mean, the party of FDR, of Obama, of Biden, reduced to infighting, desperation, and political suicide. Meanwhile, MAGA is rising. Trump is seizing control, and the future of America is being reshaped before our very eyes. So don't let the media spin it. You're watching history unfold. Schumer handed Trump the keys, and he's already slashing through the swamp. Like, subscribe, share this video, because the truth needs to be spreading faster than their lies. We'll see you guys next time.